We did it.
You did it.
Hey,
Solved
so-
that
That
book
was
puzzle.
sweet.
solved that. Yeah, that was good. Nice, neat. I'm glad we didn't have to
We
do that
talked
fight.
our way through an encounter.
Yeah, I mean that
Oh my
fight would
gosh.
have been brutal with
It
only
would've.
3 of us. With
You would.
We were surrounded.
I don't think we would have survived
we
it.
would have died for sure.
You wouldn't have won. So also the swords on the wall were Gingwatsum, and you guys couldn't take one of them.
Yeah, I surmised when she pointed those out. Yep, those
Yeah.
would probably fuck us up.
Yeah, I
So-
knew that the rug. I also knew that the rug was something, but I didn't want to say anything. I thought maybe it had something underneath it because
like a pit.
I even
something.
thought it was weird that the rug was described, and then
yeah,
I just
I thought
full-on
it could like you
stepped
could.
on it.
It had like a trap door underneath it, like where they
Yeah.
hide stuff. You know, not like more of a trap, more like a
Yeah.
cellar door. But like,
So there
Yeah.
is one of those in her office. So if you guys like wanted to fight, because this is interesting, and I want to talk about this adventure. Where did I shut the book? So I'm back. Okay, here we go. I thought it was one thing I didn't like about it. I thought it was a little hard to drive conflict between you guys and the cult, because they aren't like really out and out evil. They are
Yeah.
technically evil aligned, but like it's semi-accidental evil. Like they did not intend for the books to go to the Vatican. It just so happened that it happened. And I don't believe that any of the other members know specifically that she's making Gingwatsums and selling them. So they are pretty much absolved of like guilt. And she is doing it. She really is only doing it for like profit and just doesn't care. Like, fuck these people.
Yeah, it's
So-
interesting. Like, it doesn't give you a whole lot to work with from a DM perspective necessarily.
Yeah, so there were a couple times I'm like, maybe I'll have her like capture them. Like, I needed to drive conflict. And it was just, that's also why I like sent you the message to like, you need to get these books, because otherwise, like, if you figure out, oh, it's them, we figured out the mystery, go home. You know, like I needed to, you had to come to a head at some point.
Mm-hmm.
tell the police.
Yeah, hey, cops, they don't care.
What made it interesting too, trying to gather clues and figure things out, and it also makes it, you know, from an investigative standpoint, if her minions are kind of unawares of what's going on, I don't know, it kind of makes it interesting from a player standpoint to kind of figure out who knows what and to explore that. I think that's enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way that you guys like came at it. It was fun and like an interesting way to do it. But like with all of her crew really not knowing anything, like if you pull up a good insight check on one of them and they're like, he's telling the truth, and you're like, well, shit, I don't know what's going on then, because like only one of the, like, you know, it's compartmentalized basically, so only one person really knows what's going on, and if you don't, you know, so I think there weren't enough, like, I don't know, like crumbs to get there. Obviously there were, because you did, but I felt like there could have been like maybe at least one more, because the whole thing in the bookstore where she like gives you one, that's not in this book. I wanted to give you guys some more like concrete, like, because at that point you didn't know if they knew and if they were doing it on purpose, and Zahn doesn't know.
Mhm.
So I think you had like incited on him, and I felt like the truth of the matter is getting away from you and it's not your fault, so I wanted to give you like a handout, basically, just something to get you kind of back on track, because I didn't feel like it gave a lot in that.
It was a
I feel
little
like
weird. Like, we did that pool just to see the reaction, to see, and we saw that she reacted differently than him, and so
Yeah.
like we had a feeling that he didn't know, but like we didn't even know that she knew. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was expecting she to be a pawn and somebody, like, she's a middleman and somebody selling this to her, and she knows that they're different than regular books, but she may not know, because she didn't seem concerned when we opened it. But I guess she knows that it doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. You wouldn't know why until later.
Yeah.
Later when she like has her villain speech and explains everything to you. And that actually is in the book. They said like she's totally willing to tell you everything because she doesn't feel like she's doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
that's good. I mean, they could have done this at another angle. I think would be like if there was more hints that they weren't just like a company, that they were like a crew, then you could have been like, okay, like, and she's the only one who knows what they're going on, you could like maybe sow discord into her crew to be like, oh, look, she's doing something wrong. Like, you guys don't know about it. Like, she's keeping secrets from you. Like, that would have been a way cool angle to play. But you didn't. You didn't know it was a crew until she explains it. It was very.
Yeah, and that, I mean, to be honest though, probably wouldn't have worked because they are jackal wares in the book.
There's rabbits with the antlers.
No, they're like werewolves, but jackals.
Yeah, that.
So they very much are like a pack, and she is the pack leader. So like you would have a very hard time sowing discord against her.
Oh, so they were like pack wasn't some kind of. It was.
Yes, that was an allusion to the fact that they are jackal wares. I did not make them jackal wares in our game, but I used that word specifically because of that. Yeah. And actually, where the fuck did it go?
Like, what?
This book. There's just like little squares places, and I lost it, where they describe Nadalia, their leader. She's I don't know if that's a capital I or not. It might be a capital. Yeah. Iamia?
Lamia.
Is that an L?
Yeah, it's like a lamia is a
Like half snake person.
Yep, that's a lamia. It's like a mythological creature.
Yeah, but I figured Jin was kind of more thematic to this, so I switched it. But I did I was really this session but I was really excited because you guys were stealthing through, and with a couple of rolls would have been able to stealth to her office and confront her there. You never would have been able to fight your way through it. Because all of these jackal wares would have torn you up.
Yeah. So what are the that's what I'm trying to think of, is like normally you have multiple ways of
yes.
Because like if we were all a bunch of barbarians, like we were like two of us were really bad at stealth, so we couldn't have done that stealth thing. And
yes.
Like if we stealth there, she could have just we were then surrounded. Like
yeah, which you were anyway.
Yeah.
You rused your way through and were surrounded, so you basically for you guys at least, like violence is not an option.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to see like what you were going to do and what you did. Because like you could have stealthed your way through potentially, you talked your way through, which is what ended up happening. And that was really fun to play through. I wanted to get the smothering carpet thing. That's why the old man was calling Zahn to come over here, to come to me. Get away from the trap.
That you clearly know is existing because you are Zahn and not an impersonator.
Yeah. I figured I thought about sneaking back to that room, but then I figured she would just at very least be able just to shout and everyone would come running anyway.
Oh yeah. And they have very good perception, but you rolled really well. So
yeah, for once that worked out.
That's what you're like. I want to look in the room, and I was like, he might get fucking caught, and then this whole thing's gonna go
we're dead.
The thing is, I wouldn't have had them they all kill you. Maybe that we have a fight and they incapacitate you, and then we talk. It was always because I was driving it to that also. It was always gonna end up with a scene with you guys talking it out, and because otherwise, what you die, game over.
There's no way.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Yeah, and then I don't see another viable option besides either sneaking or usually you have even the front door approach is a viable approach, but in this one it just doesn't, unless you were a super strong
Yeah.
combat party. Like, but even then, you had 4 of them plus 2 Gingwatsums. Plus, if one of you was caught in that carpet, then you're down.
Yeah.
You know.
And then Zahn and Theron were at the bookstore. So they wouldn't have like known, but they would have come back eventually. In the book, it says that if you like confront her at the bookstore about it, she will bring you back for like a parlay, basically. So
so that's usually what people do.
Yes. And
Ooh, we just skipped a bit.
Well, that was our second option. Remember, we talked about doing that.
Yes, you did. That was
that's true.
She was kind of like Schrodinger at that point, like, and maybe she would have come, because like none of the other people want to talk about it. They get like really nervous, so they're like, "Oh, we'll have to talk to Hervala. We'll have to talk to Hervala." But there are a couple ways that you could have got to that, basically that scene that we had. And the way that you did it was brilliant. It was like super fun.
Yeah, well, I think also when you can avoid really hairy situations through that improvisation and dialogue and role playing. I mean, that to me personally, I don't want to speak for anybody else. I it's more rewarding to achieve those accomplishments and like kind of circumvent those encounters. It's fun, but it also, for me, combat just seems to drag on. So it's nice to sometimes like, cool, we got past this obstacle without having to. It's more engaging.
Yeah. Like stealth is optional level. Yeah. It's like extra challenge to like do it socially.
And you guys really only fought one. You fought Mashaika twice, right? That's it.
And Gingwatsum once.
Gingwatsum in the beginning, but
yeah,
you can call that a fight.
I thought he was going to TPK you in the very first thing, like first game, party wiped out. Which actually, like, looking back, I thought like would have been really cool because you wake up in the infirmary and the Swiss guard just came in and made short work of this thing, like. You know, like
guys, they have lances. They still have lances.
They're fucking actually military trained. Like they would have come in, and there would have been like 20 of them. You know, like they just poked at it. But I didn't think about that until after. I was like, oh damn, that would have actually been cool because like that thing easily could have killed you. But you beat it. I didn't even. I didn't fudge rolls, but I took its modifiers away because there's only 3 of you.
Yeah. And combat should always be your last. I always agree that combat should be your last option because if you think about it, like all your skill sets, combat's really just one skill. You have a bunch of different ways to do combat, but you also have a bunch of different ways for diplomacy and a bunch of different ways for stealth and a bunch of different ways for anything. So like
what would you call? Because it wasn't like diplomacy. What is that like that you guys did? It's like tricking. What is a word for that?
Subterfuge.
Yeah. Deception, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the deception skill, yeah. So like
it's deception in like a performative way, which was interesting.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's what I a lot of times would. I will, you link those two together is like performance and deception or persuasion and deception. But like, yeah, like you think about all your skill sets, like it shouldn't just be like 50% combat, 50% all others of these like list of 20 skills.
Yeah.
Like it probably should be like combat's 1, maybe like a quarter or a fifth, just because if you're just running in, unless you're like, that's your character flaw, that you love combat and you just want to fight people, like you're so many different things that you could use than just, oh, I got to fight this guy and then I fight this guy, then I fight this guy. Like that's Diablo, play Diablo.
Yeah. And it is interesting because this chapter is set up to like it is obviously because there's more than one way that you can have like a conversation with her. But one of the resolving the mysteries is called Bloodbath. It's like it's possible to kill and defeat the Amber Dune Pack without ever hearing their side of the story. With no one to stop them, blah 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 blah. So there were things that you guys didn't find, like a trapdoor under her office with Nadalia's fucking heart in it.
It's a bit creepy.
So, yes.
That's
so it
cool.
gives
You went room to room or somehow incapacitated people and won that fight. Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you had 5, 6 people, like you probably could have done it. Like it's technically doable because the Jackal wares are like a half a challenge rating. They're 1/2.
Yeah. I mean, we would have been playing a completely different game if we would have done that. It would have been tactical murder sim, not fun-loving role-playing adventure.
So I was talking to Katie, and I was like, she asked like, how long is it? And I was like, no clue, because they're not going to fight these people. So I don't know how long it's going to take. Like combat, you can at least like, it takes a long time, but you can like guesstimate. You guys could have done 100 different things. Like you could have scoped the house and then gone back to the bookstore. And then like, I probably would have had Corvala confront you there. And then we would have had to go back to the house. Like, so it could have taken a long time. But the interesting thing that I want to talk about for this section of Bloodbath, if you did kill everybody, I just think that this is interesting because I don't feel like other games we've played have done this. It leaves you clues to find, because like you could, similar to the last one we played, like we just missed all of our like checks to find the hidden doors. You could do that on this one. Like you check for the hidden door. Oh, I don't see one. But there are keys on Corvala. This means there must be locks somewhere, is what it says. The hideout is square. If there are any secret nooks between the walls, they would be very shallow. It's unlikely anything would be kept there.
See, it's nice to give those types, like when the book does give you those types of things, because those were lacking in the first adventure.
For sure.
It's nice that they put those in this. But also different
written by different person, so I think that this writer was...
Yeah, they're all different writers, yeah.
I think this... I like this guy's writing style better than the first one. I think...
So there are two... So the last dot on Bloodbath is there are two Ging Watsums defending Corvala's office. Were they guarding something else as well? So those are like the hints to get you to find the trapdoor. And because in this scenario, you don't know why they were doing anything because you just killed them all.
Right.
So this is a nice way to like resolve the mystery if you killed the person who would have told it to.
Yeah. Choose the murder hobo route.
Yeah. Well, I had like, I was definitely, while you guys were talking, because I couldn't like be included in the negotiations. Like I was thinking
to bring you out.
I mean like, but I didn't. So I was like, I was thinking about popping out like with the flair for dramatic, because of course he's going to do that way. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, like if things start to go south, like could I literally like just walk out because they know who I am? Just I can walk out, I'm like, I need to get back to the store, and then go to the store and then just bring police. Like that's literally something I was thinking about. It was just like, and just all of a sudden like the hideout is surrounded by Cairo town guard.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking, or other things, or like, or could I figure out like I was thinking about like trying to hint to her that Mark Twain isn't dead and it's a ruse, and Mark Twain is on his way to get the authorities, like maybe to like they're they're on their way,
yeah.
If they look like they're just like, oh, we have you now, we can't let you escape type of way. So I was trying to think that, but it turned out good.
That's what I was getting at when I wanted other things for the books. I wanted one from everybody. So I just wanted to give somebody else like kind of room to talk in that space. I 100% didn't have anything in mind when I was asking for that. So that book that Mark pulled out was fucking perfect. Like totally thematically perfect. Like that was perfect. The stuff that Chris gave, I forgot he had. So like that's awesome. But I wanted Billy at the end said that Mark Twain will sign things. That's actually what I wanted from him anyway. So he was the only one that I actually had an idea that I wanted something from, but he couldn't talk.
Thinking like the whole time when you were talking, like sending a message like, they're going to find out that it's not, that I'm not Zahn. Like Zahn's eventually either going to come back, or if we leave, they're going to go talk to Zahn. I'm like, that was fucked up, right? And Zahn's like, what?
I thought Yeah, I thought when they found out they were going to attack us. So I was like, let's leave now.
I didn't think they were going to attack us, but I thought like we made a negotiation and an agreement in good faith, and we all of a sudden it's not in good faith, and then they just keep making Watson again, and I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to come clean with that.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like, oh well, fuck that. We're going to keep doing this and make money.
Yeah. So in the book, in the resolutions, there is like, if you negotiate and you like do what you did, like you have them as an ally. But if you fight them and don't kill all of them, they become like recurring antagonists. And if they resurrect Nadalia, like they're recurring antagonists with a Lamia, like leading them, like a fucking legitimate monster. Lamia. Let's see what challenge ratings are.
It's tough. It's
4. Challenge rating 4. So those other guys were half.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, level 2 party would not be able to stand up to that.
A level 2 party with a level 4, that's like a deadly, I believe, in the Dungeon Master's Handbook.
I mean, so she wouldn't have come back like this.
Yeah.
You know, if you would have resolved this thing. Yeah, exactly. It would have like.
Yeah.
Maybe you're level 3 or level 4 or whatever, and
still that's.
Yeah.
She's not going to come back alone. Like by herself, it's a deadly encounter. So if she even has like 2 henchmen, it becomes an impossible encounter.
I do like the way they leave those just so many open-ended hooks that you can use for your campaigns if you want to like link these into other stories or, you know, bring more flavor to your games. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It is really neat. So under the end, resolving the mysteries, there is bloodbath, restitution. So even if the motives of the Amberdine Pack are revealed, the parties might not excuse the Jackalwares for their actions. And the characters must insist on bringing real books back to Candlekeep without offering a compromise. If then, the Jackalwares will put up a fight, though they will surrender before they, die. Losing the books is a great setback to the Jackalwares, but they can't revive Nadalia if they're all dead. If the Jackalwares are slain in this battle and the characters don't know where to find the vault, see, bloodbath. But the next one is negotiations, which basically is what you guys did. They want to find a peaceful agreement through civil conversation. For example, the party could help the Jackalwares come up with another way to raise money, offer assistance with their goal to resurrect Nadalia, or to pay a fair price for the books, which you didn't have the money for, so it didn't matter.
Give them business advice to win the campaign.
Yeah. If they agree on a deal, the Jackalwares let the characters take the real books back to Candlekeep. And it said somewhere else that like they become like a friendly faction or something, it's interesting. Because again, these things, we are not playing them the way they're designed to be like dropped into your like longer story. So it is cool that they leave like those hooks for recurring villains or recurring like friendly factions to like call upon if you need them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever play these characters again. I actually hope so at some point because I thought it was a ton of fun. But it'd be nice to be able to like continue some of these stories, whether it's another Candlekeep book or something else, another adventure. But I like this extraordinary League of People type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing the prequel to this basically, and figured I stopped because of the pandemic, but I figured we would have played it during like our Christmas game if we were all together. I don't even know because it was on my work computer. I'll see if I can find my notes for it. But this was so much fun that I'm like reinvigorated in it. Because I think these characters came out so well that you guys made.
I mean, I had an absolute blast. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
That's all for our quick post-session review of Mazfroth's Mighty Digressions, circa 1890s, which was a ton of fun to play. It was an incredible experience to be able to reskin and roleplay as some unique historical characters. So in between this book and the next adventure, we're going to take a little break while Eric goes to Hawaii. We've got a couple episodes around character creation and some homebrew rule sets that we used in this adventure. Then we'll be jumping right into a 0 session for Adventure 3 in Candlekeep Mysteries, Book of the Raven. Billy's going to lead that adventure, and this one will be interesting because each of us will be creating characters for other people in the group. I'll be creating a character for Mark, Mark will be creating a character for Eric, and Eric will be creating one for me. See how that shakes up in a few weeks. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please give the podcast a like or review. It goes a long way in supporting the show. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.